We are live. Welcome to Liquidation Motivation Live. Thanks for coming and watching the show. A couple of things before we start. We have a guest today, and just write all your comments in the comment section. I'm going to moderate them, and we're going to answer them after we speak to our guest. Okay. And then I wanted to talk to you guys about the exclusive loads that we have available. So go to Liquidation Motivation. Let me put up the banner. Here we go. Let's see. Liquidation. I don't want the ticker. I want this. Here we go. So you can see it. Save. Show. There you go. LiquidationMotivation.com. Exclusive loads. Right now we have, I believe we have Lowe's, we have an FC, I believe, and we have some clothing and some shoes. So if you guys need anything, please sign up for the exclusive loads list. This way you're on our list. If we have something that we want to share with you, you'll be the first to know, to get notification. The other thing too is that I am offering anyone in the liquidation business a free website. So please visit estacam.com, free website. And if you want to know why it's free, please visit estacam.com, free website. All right, so I'm going to introduce Tom, and Tom's going to introduce our special guest today.
What's happening, Esteban?
Hello. We got lots of work to do. Super busy week.
Oh, man, I don't know about you guys. Well, first, let me introduce. We got Ryan Leaventon here from CRL in Akron, Ohio. It's CRL Liquidation. Do I got that right?
Yep, you got it.
That's awesome. Hey,
Tell Tom what CRL means.
Yeah, what does CRL stand for?
So really just our initials, right? My wife and I, so Chelsea and Ryan Leaventon, super original. Well, but it represents something great in our lives. So
there you go. That's perfect. I don't know about you guys, but I think I've been the busiest I've ever been for the last couple weeks. I'm opening a new bin store. I got truckloads coming in and out, people all over the world trying to get loads. The business has just been insane lately. But man, to find time to do anything last couple of days has been crazy. So I'm glad that you have some time to meet with us, Ryan. So Ryan, talk to us, Ryan. How did you get started? Well, what's your story, Ryan? Where do we start with your story? So,
oh man, so really, my wife and I started this out of our garage. We had our daughter who is about to turn 3 this weekend. And I was working for K Jewelers or Signet Jewelers as a district manager. So it was kind of all over the place, traveling a lot. And, neither one of us had ever experienced leave from work. So I was out, 6 weeks and she was out 12, and you only get a portion of your pay, right? So we came back and we were like, oh no. What are we going to do for money, right? We've just been out of work. We spent all this money. We racked up a little bit of credit card debt, and we needed a side hustle. So, we were living in Michigan at the time, and in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and we started watching some YouTube videos and trying to figure this whole thing out. So, we're really fortunate. Grand Rapids Pallet Liquidations up there. And they just have an amazing operation going on. So we were able to go in and buy a couple pallets and just start flipping from our garage. At the time, I didn't know it was going to turn into anything like this. But we both kind of fell in love with it. Just really enjoyed what we were doing. The space fills up really quick. So we went from our garage, it overflowed into our basement, and then we got, a little bit of we call it our warehouse. It was really like a storage unit, but it was so convenient because it was next door to our house. So we expanded into that, and, one thing led to another. We were just we started our group and just kept selling. And, you know, I had moved away for work probably 10 or 11 years prior. And that was all over the place for Signet Jewelers. So, you know, I was down in West Virginia, I was in Columbus, and then Michigan. And, you know, we knew that having our daughter, we needed some family around. And I remember I went out to dinner with my boss one night in Indiana, and I was like, look, I am getting some pressure from home, but I also want to move home to Akron, Ohio. And, you know, what does that look like? And I was told 3 or 4 more years. And at the time, you know, my dad was battling some cancer. He's battled it 4 times now. We just actually got results yesterday because he had a surgery about a month ago, that everything is looking good. So happy that I was able to be around for that. But yeah, so, you know, I came home from Indiana and talked to my wife, and we were like, you know what? We got a good thing going. She was already able to leave her job because of the reselling. And we said, you know what? Let's do it for ourselves. Let's go all in. You know, we've been saving for a while. We've done really well with it. And we listed our house up on the market the next week and started traveling back and forth to figure out where we were going to do business and where we were going to live. And, you know, throughout all that, we also found out we had another one on the way. So I'll tell you what, this last year and a half has been absolutely chaotic and crazy. But it has been a huge blessing, and we love where we're at right now. So it's
all right. Let me get in here for a second, Ryan. So how long ago did this story start? Did you start doing the flipping?
Well, my daughter turns 3 next weekend. We started flipping probably when she was like 3 or 4 months old. So not that long.
I mean, I get a lot of people that, you know, because I do have a pallet warehouse, come in and buy pallets from me. They bring them to the garage like you do. And then they're like, hey, we're going to go get a store. And I'm like, whoa, put the brakes on for a second, buddy. I mean, you know, first of all, I don't know if they're savers or if they're spenders or what they are. And I'm like, you know, keep your costs as low as you can. I mean, until you're busting at the seams in your garage, in your basement, and we don't get basements down here in Florida. I'm from New York. We always had a basement. We don't get anything down here in Florida. So, you know, when you're busting at the seams and you got no choice and no more room, then maybe look at a different facility. But if you can keep that cost low or down to almost zero in your house, stick to that plan until you can save your money till you can get truckloads. Then maybe you need to go to the next level. So I agree with you 100%. That's the way to do it, man. Bust at the seams and then move on from there. You know, so you've been on this journey for 3 years. So you moved back to Akron, Ohio to see your family, which is good. And I'm going to say cancer fucking sucks, man. I lost my mom to cancer. I get it, man. You know, so my prayers are with you on that one. And, you know, okay, so you get to Akron, what do you decide to do next?
So, I mean, we had to figure out so many things, but, you know, we had, I don't know if I'm frozen or not.
You're good here.
Okay. On the screen. All right. So we had a 26-foot box truck for our house and a 26-foot box truck full of merchandise that we had been working for, you know, over a year. And we had secured a site. We originally started with just our retail store, really. I mean, we acquired about 8,600 square feet. And only 2,800 of it is our retail store. And you know, to be honest, I don't know that we'll ever grow that retail store any larger than it is. It is, for where we're at, it is perfect to serve the community. You know, we're in the middle of like 3 or 4 very blue collar communities. So gives people the opportunity to come down and save money, on everyday products. And it's, you know, we opened that discount store. When we first moved in here, we had enough money to secure our site, get the equipment that we needed, the shelving that we needed. and we were able to bring in one mixed truck, and that was it. So I remember when we first brought that first truck in, and we were so excited that we had something in our warehouse, right? And
what'd you bring in?
So it was just a mixed truck. We wanted to be able to put new merchandise into the warehouse or into the retail store. So we weren't selling pallets right away. We were more focused on just driving people into the door. And I think that lasted maybe a month or two, and everybody started asking us about pallets. It's in our name, it's on our sign, CRL, retail and pallet liquidation. And at first we couldn't afford it. So we started bringing in, a few like lesser expensive options for people to flip, and started teaching a few people here and there. And it just, it took a little while, but then we started taking off. So in April this last year, we expanded to 27,000 square feet. So,
oh, wow.
Yes.
Now you're
and
talking.
we are bursting at the seams. So, yeah. So we're growing. We don't plan on stopping. So
that's awesome. Okay. So you got the retail store. So did you close up the retail, or you still in that same building, or?
No. So actually it's a kind of a perfect scenario. So the retail store used to be like I don't know if it was like a showroom of some sort. This building that we're in used to be kind of like the Best Buy of the 70s. And it's an 84,000 square foot building that they've kind of sectioned off. And you used to be able to come in here and go shopping for all your appliances, your countertops, you name it. So it was like a showroom. And we took out a wall so that when you walk into our retail store, you can walk directly back into the pallet warehouse. We wanted it to be inviting. We wanted it to be kind of like a transition. So,
okay.
Our goal is to
27 in the same building. Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
Then you don't got to move anything. You don't got to move everything. That's better. That's way
right.
better.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, when we negotiated our lease, we were able to negotiate first right of refusal on this other space. So that was a big part of why we moved here.
Yeah. How's real estate in your area? Is it expensive? Is it reasonable? Is it?
I think it depends where you look. Where we're at, this is a building that had sat vacant for a few years. So we were able to get a killer deal, escalates every year for us. But I think we started off at like $4.50 a square foot. So you can't really beat that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Is that triple net or gross?
Gross.
Oh, that's even better, man.
Yes.
That's even better. For people who don't know what triple net is like you might go in and negotiate a lease, and then they if it's triple net, you got to pay your portion of the taxes, your portion of the insurance, your portion of the CAM, and CAM is common area maintenance. It's like in your area, snow plowing and lawn mowing and all that kind of stuff, So you got, when you think you got a good lease rate, and then they add the CAM on there, it becomes a little more expensive. But all right, awesome. So now you're doing pallet sales. You got your retail store, and your next evolution in the business is to do what? Because I see your sign behind you, and now you're getting into what now, Ryan?
Yeah, so we started Whatnot probably a little over a year ago. And we've really grown it pretty organically. We have 3 different hosts right now that work for us. We try to run between 8 and 10 shows a week. And I think we have about 33,000 followers. So, it's growing. Yeah, it's doing really well. We started out with baby clothes. And we've added different categories in since. And lately, the biggest thing we are running is Target case back, so wholesale shows.
Wow. I mean, I've always said, like, I mean, we're on the Whatnot journey also. I think we're at 13,000 subs or followers right now. But I've always said, like, when you get to 50,000, you're like big time. I mean, and you're like knocking on the door, man. You're knocking on the door. So, you know, when you see somebody sell a $20 item for $16, you're like, you know, I'm getting $3 for that thing, you know? You know, it just, so you're almost there, man. I mean, it's almost like, I think, and I don't know if 50,000 is the right number to put it at, but like when you get to that level, you're like, you know, one of the big retailers in this space, right? You're like top dog. I mean, top 1%, I would say. You got to be, Ryan, even with 33,000. Man, yeah, that's awesome. And it's such a journey. I mean, maybe you could talk about your journey because I do got a buddy in Florida who has 50,000, but he paid $50,000 in advertising to get there. And I, like you, am doing like the organic, just hustling it every day. We're doing auctions every day, you know, sometimes 6, 7, 8 hours a day. And but I can see at 13,000 followers, our average sale now is going up and up and up and up. You know, I can see that.
Sure.
So talk to us about your journey there.
Well, I guess, so we do pay to promote just the first hour of every show. And then, you know, the deal I have with our hosts is they make hourly plus commission and tips. And it's really their job to hold their audience. So, you know, we're sending out push notifications, right, to all 33,000 people. Then we have an hour of promotion to start their show. They're running on average 3-hour shows right now. So, you know, it's up to them to keep their audience afterwards. Sometimes it does well, sometimes it doesn't, right? It's overall, it's been a really, really great thing for us. And it just keeps growing. So, you know, we're looking to keep adding and adding and adding to it. I think the biggest thing for us when we started out on Whatnot was figuring out the processes. And, you know, we work closely with a couple different Whatnot hosts, and they're always asking me like, hey, Ryan, like, what do we need to do differently? And, you know, us being in the pallet business, we offer education for free every single day. And I have so many customers coming to me saying, hey, I can't figure out the shipping. I can't figure out how to list my items. And I think the biggest hurdle with Whatnot was figuring out that shipping, figuring out how do you streamline your process? How do you cut down on time? You know, labor is always one of the biggest overhead, you know, biggest parts of overhead for any business. And when you can cut down on labor by creating processes that work, it makes everything else worthwhile. So, you know, we went out and created like a bin system for our auctions, and, you know, for same thing with, you know, with wholesale, when we run case pack, you know, we have a conveyor and we have a shipper and we're shipping live. And by the time we're done with the show, we just walk away. It's all done.
You're shipping live
for wholesale.
Okay. Because you're not bundling anything, because you're selling a box of stuff versus.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes
it super easy. But yeah, I remember we did a toy show probably in the first couple months we were on Whatnot, and we had a great show. But afterwards we got done and we were like, oh my gosh, it took like 4 of us like 8 hours to ship it. And I was like, never again. That is too much. It's too time consuming, right? So we went out and created a bin system. And one of our girls who's been with us the longest, Emily, she's just amazing. You know, she'll run a baby show now. And you know, we set metrics of 80 items an hour as a minimum standard, with a stretch goal of 120. And she'll go on for 3 hours. And there are days where she'll just catch fire and she'll sell 600 items in 3 hours on a baby show. And it's generally packed. If she has help, it's packed in an hour and a half. If she's packing by herself, maybe 3 hours. And it's certainly helped a lot to just have that stuff in place.
Yeah, I would say anybody who's just getting into whatnot, take all that super serious. I remember when we first started, there was another guy, big seller, and he was talking on the show and he says, "Hey guys, I know it's been 5 days since we shipped, but we're going to get everything out, as soon as possible to you guys." And I'm like, wow, they don't ship, next thing you know, he's suspended. And this guy had 50,000 followers and he's suspended. We were kind of we weren't slow, but we were like 2 or 3 days at first. But now we're like, we do a show, next morning, everything gets shipped. Everything gets shipped. And we have the post office come pick it up. So we're not hustling to get shit to the post office. We like you, Ryan, I don't think we're as organized as you are or as analytical as you are. And I need to step up my game in that. So I'm really glad you're telling me these kind of things. 80 an hour. I like that. Are you doing a sudden death auctions or are you just 10 seconds?
Typically. So anytime we run like Target general merchandise or Target baby, or we have like holiday shows or running jackets or boots or whatever that might be where we're bundling, we're usually running sudden death. For wholesale, we're going to try sudden death this week. We haven't yet. But we typically kind of go for like maximum dollar on that stuff. So we'll do like 10 plus 5.
10 plus 5, yeah. Yeah, I'm not convinced, but maybe at your level, sudden death works. At my level, it doesn't work yet. It's like, I don't know. I go sudden death, and all of a sudden, my average sale price goes down 50%. It's so many people wait for that last second to bid. So, but yeah, I've seen other channels even selling, $300 shoes do sudden, 5-second sudden death and goes for $250, right? You're like, holy shit. So maybe that's a levels thing, and you're at that level. I'm hoping to get to that level.
Maybe I think you just have to have enough buyers in the room, and then you get to play a little bit more with the psychology of bidding. Yeah.
How many buyers do you get in your rooms?
It depends on the host. It depends on the time. It depends what we're running. We still could have some shows with like 20, 30 people in there, and then we'll have some shows with 150. So
yeah, I think we're averaging like 60 right now, but it's almost like I created a channel where bargain shoppers come to because it's like everything. Don't get me wrong. It's getting better. It's like our average sale rate went from 4 to 5 to 7. A couple shows we did $12, and we're running mostly Amazon. We get mostly Amazon electronics. Our average cost is like $2. So getting $11 out of $2, I'll do that all day long, right?
All day.
Yeah. If
That's
it wasn't
great.
so repetitive, I could do it all day long. But they get sick and tired of buying the same Bluetooth headphones over and over again. Yeah, but that's great.
We struggle with that, right? Because especially with Target case pack, you get so many of the same SKU, or even truck after truck. I could have 1,000 globe vases in here.
Right.
We could just keep getting the same thing. But if you look at the analytics on your shows and you see that, we're running for 3 hours, we may hold 90 people in the room the whole time, but we had 3,000 people come in and out of the room in that 3 hours. So not everybody's always seeing the exact same stuff. So we just try to break it up a little bit.
Yeah. That makes sense. That definitely makes sense. Wow. You got my mind spinning now. Like, I got to do better, man. I got my man Jeremy running the whatnot part, but maybe I need to like crack the whip a little bit on him.
Sounds like you have a great start.
Yeah, it's been 6 months probably now that we're doing it, and we have a team, a staff, the warehouse, everything's all set up for it. And we have a 3-tier auction approach. We do whatnot, we do HiBid for the larger items online, and then we do a live auction. So we kind of, in between all three, we're doing great. But I think that the HiBid and the whatnot are still in the maturing stages. Like we got a long way to go. I truly believe that. I'm just regurgitating what like Gary Vee says, but I've listened to, some people, there's some influencers that are in whatnot that get more than retail for certain brand. They typically do like higher end fashion brands, but they get more than what you'd get at, Dillard's for them. because they have gained that following and that influence. And, it's certainly the future of, or the present of, of shopping. I mean, if you think about how crazy the home shopping network was back in its day, and, but I think there's a certain class of person that loves this, that is just addicted to whatnot, right? It's like a lot of my sales come from a small fraction of my buyers. I mean, but I got, it's like I got some buyers that'll buy 100, 200 items a day from me, and I'm like, where, for 6 months, and I'm like, where the hell are you putting all this stuff? But I mean, hey, but you got to have those in there, because at least they're bidding almost every auction up for you, right, to a certain level, and then maybe you can get a fair value out of whatever you're selling. But
yeah, we have a lot of that as well, and we offer local pickup because it's so easy for us with our retail store. And we'll have some buyers that are just buying so much. And I always try to like stop out every once in a while when they're picking up and say, hey, what are you doing with all of this? Like, I just want to make sure if you have any questions, like, are you reselling? Are you gifting it all? Like, I think a good portion of them are reselling. And it kind of gives me an opportunity to just make sure things are going okay. We're here to help the community. We certainly don't want to put anybody in a bad spot.
Yeah. When we first started, because everything was going so cheap, a lot of our buyers were whatnot sellers. They're like, oh, Tom can get the inventory. I got a warehouse full of inventory. We're selling it. It's going for nothing. So they're buying it, putting it on their store where they're that maybe they got a TikTok shop or something like that, and they're making 4x what I'm making from it. So, but I mean, it's like the path to grow, right? It's the path to grow. So it happens, but I'm not complaining about it. I'm just kind of saying, if you're going to get into this journey and you're new, just there is some growing pains to get to my level, 13,000, to your level, Ryan, 33,000, and to the superstar level, which I consider 50 or 50 plus. But I don't really know. But yeah,
it's still pretty new to a lot of people. It's funny, maybe out to dinner or something like that, and somebody asks, what do you do? And I explain liquidation, and they have no idea. And then oh, hey, are you familiar with whatnot? No clue. So I think a lot of people are still really figuring out what is it.
I agree. You ask 100 people, 5 people know about it, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Yeah. So it's got a long way to grow. Gary Vee says 5 years, you won't recognize the world. You won't recognize the retail world in 5 years.
I think he's probably right.
Yeah. I mean, he's saying all brands will be selling on live sellers, but they'll be selling it through influencers, selling it through influencers. So, if we could, we're kind of ahead. I mean, people are way far ahead of us, but, we're in that game now. So I can't imagine what we're going to be like in 5 years. I mean, we should be over hundreds of thousands of followers. And I can't imagine what's going to happen at that time, right? I can't imagine.
Yeah. I think just social selling is taking off. You look at what it's done in like Asia over the last few years, and we're behind. We're way behind, which is not a bad thing because we can learn from that. But I think you're right. I mean, it's going to be at 10x, what it is now in 5 years at least.
Yeah. So who's going to be at the top of that ladder? That's the question. So that's awesome. Do you have problem ever sourcing inventory? Or, I mean, in Ohio's a pretty central area. There's a lot of loads that are, in all different directions from you. See, in Florida, I can only go up. I can only look up loads. There's nowhere else to go. You get a lot of loads around your area, I would say. Indiana, Kentucky, a lot of stuff coming out of that area.
Yeah, I think, we're fortunate in that aspect. And we focus a lot of our energy on wholesale. So, we pride ourselves in bringing in a multitude of different programs, but that also comes with its challenges because we're not always ordering the same thing every single week. And that can be very challenging in this business. So we try to order what we need, But on the flip side, sometimes you have to order a little bit more than you need to keep some of the suppliers happy or make sure that you have a consistent flow.
100%, 100%. Yeah.
And then, of course, there's always programs that you wake up one morning and it's gone.
Yeah. I've been there lots of times. And it's frustrating, right? And that's why I've always preached, like, you got to have 3, 4, 5 different sources of inventory. That way, if one gets cut off, I mean, I had a load for 2 years that I got 3 loads a week. I made $5,000 a load for 2 years. And then one day, bang, it's gone. It's gone. It's like your main source of income. And I promised myself I'd never get myself into that, into that narrowness of having one load. So, yeah, now I think I have 5 or 6 right now, the places that I buy a lot from. But when I get a supplier, I'm like, what do I got to do to buy everything? What do I got to do to buy everything? But then I team up with other people to take these loads with me, right? And so that gives me the opportunity to, have a leg up in the situation. So I get it, man. I get it. It's rough. And it's rough to teach. Somebody texted me this morning and said, I'm starting a bin store and I want to buy 2 pallets a week. And I'm like, I don't even know what to say to you, right? I don't even know. Don't do it, don't do it. It's just so hard to advise people, who are underfunded and want to get into this business. I would recommend what Ryan did. Have a garage, have a little storage unit, bust your ass, save your money, and then build your way up in this industry. But you're not going to do it by having 2 pallets in a bin store. It's just, there's no excitement to customers. Customers love bin stores, but there's no excitement to a 2-bin store. I don't know.
Yeah.
You ever done bins, Ryan?
We put 1 bin in our retail store, our tiny little retail store when we first opened, and quickly figured out it just wasn't the model for us. But we weren't a bin store. So it just brought, I don't know, people would just destroy the merchandise in there, and it wasn't the right thing for us. So we quickly removed it. I mean, with that little space to shop, the real estate was more important to us to be able to put out different products.
Yeah. So you got to be doing a lot more in sales in the back of the house than you are in the front, in the store part, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's the retail store holds its own, and I'm so lucky. We have 3 girls that work up there, and they do such an amazing job. I barely have to touch it anymore, which is great. They'll tell me when they need merchandise. They'll recycle old merchandise when they need to, and they come to me with ideas that just are phenomenal for our business. So they take great pride in what they do. They've really gotten to know our customer base. I'm just very, very fortunate to have them up there. So it holds its own. It's not our main profit driver. It certainly helps margins a little bit. It gets people in the door. It allows us to explain the industry to people. And it's created a lot of like, oh, what's going on back there, right? Oh, we're allowed to walk through. And it gets people into the pallet warehouse.
Do they have to go through your store to pick up whatnot?
So the girls at the counter, they'll take care of all the whatnot pickups, but all the whatnot pickups are right around the corner in the pallet warehouse. So, if they want to come back there, they can. We just have employee only signs on the shelves there just to make sure nothing goes missing.
But I mean, they can walk through your store to get to your pallet to pick up.
Oh, yeah.
So they're going to see all that retail stuff. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know having people pick up here at my warehouse, they go into our auction room, which is like our retail, kind of like your store. We got a store, but we do auctions in there, but people all week long will buy retail in there. I normally charge like 50% off or something like that. But yeah, that helps bringing people in here to the business. Where do you see your future? I mean, if I could predict your future, I would assume that it's whatnot, right? It's like, 100xing whatnot. If that's even possible, I don't know. I mean, it's like you're on this. You're. I mean, I've seen the guys at the shows that have the 100,000 followers and stuff like that, but it seems like you're on that path. And
I think it'd be nice.
Yeah. Do you even need to do a store at a certain level because it's just, added noise, to what really drives your sales and your success, right? Am I making any sense there?
Yeah, you are. I don't see the store ever really going away. I think it's a really great way to give back to the community around here, and we have people that depend on us now. So
yeah,
I don't think it'll ever go away. I mean, retail is like ingrained in my soul after doing it for so many years. I just enjoy it. I enjoy the interaction with people, and I think it's just always a good way to get people in the door. But so I don't know that it'll ever go away. It also doesn't take a ton of our energy away from other stuff, because we've really built this business, with a few different revenue streams. So, I want Whatnot to grow. I want our wholesale division to grow. Retail, I'd like to refine a little bit. And we're starting to, where we're moving towards more like overstock and newer, cleaner product and things like that. Whereas when we first moved in here with 26-foot box truck, there was a bunch of brown boxes, and it was really difficult to merchandise some of that stuff. So just creating better operational efficiencies around that stuff. Wholesale is the largest section of our business, and just creating education around it, creating side hustles and businesses for people that didn't know anything about it. We have a pretty big neighbor right in our backyard that's pretty big in the industry, and we're very close with them. And it's wild because I was talking to them, and since we opened up and started selling pallets, not only has our business grown, but so has theirs. And I think that's a really good thing, because we're just educating more and more and more people every single day about the opportunities that they have. So, and some of these people that are coming in first time pallet buyers, now they're ordering half trucks or mixed trucks from us, and they've figured it out. There's always been those few people that come in and buy like 2 or 3 pallets, and they're like, I'm opening a retail store. Same with you. Same like you. I'm like, whoa, pump your brakes. Like, what do you think you want to sell in your retail store? Like, how do you want to do this? What programs do you like? And they just kind of look at me like confused, right? So I urge them to, get a little bit more educated first, understand what works for them, how they want to do it. But there has been a whole bunch that have really, it is amazing to see their growth. We opened in July of 24, so we haven't been open that long. But wow. To see all these different retail stores popping up now, and they're coming to us regularly to source their product, it's really just, it's incredible.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, man. I agree with that. And you'll face bad. I always say the first thing: are you a good salesperson? Like, what do you mean? Like, are you going to sit in the corner and play a video game while your store's open and customers are walking around? Or are you going to try to sell your shit? I don't know. And then you're going to get people that buy pallets and say everything was broken and it's crap. And like, come on, man. It doesn't work that way. Just because you don't know how to sell something. So you get all different levels of people in this industry, in this business, and and you try to hold their hand, and and if you can groom them, they do become good customers. I got lots of customers that come back every week and buy 6, 8, 10, 12 pallets off me to supply their store, which I'll be happy to do. I wish they'd just go buy their own damn truckloads, and then they could save some money. And I tell them that. You don't need to buy from me. Go on Liquidation Truckloads on Facebook and go find the truckload yourself. But be careful. Yeah. There's so many scams going on out there, man. Have you ever got scammed on a load, Ryan?
You know, I'm very fortunate. I have not. I think that's one thing I'm just super thankful for is I've built a close network of people that I feel comfortable doing business with on a regular basis. And, you know, I told you I shopped at Grand Rapids Pallet Liquidation, right, with Mitch up there. And
okay, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if he'll watch this or not. I didn't tell him I was doing this, but man, I remember the first time I went in there and I'm like, I'm really interested in this. And I want to learn more. And he's like, okay. I was like, no, seriously, like every time I come up here, I'm going to ask you an insane amount of questions. And you might get a little annoyed with me, but I'm going to ask the questions. And I don't know if you took me seriously or not, you know, first time meeting me probably. But I did. I mean, every single time I went up there, I asked him all kinds of questions. And, you know, for when we first opened up here, I kind of like had to figure some stuff out on my own for sure. But man, I was super grateful for the knowledge that he was willing to share. So it helped a lot, you know.
Mitch is a huge asset. I mean, I'm in Florida and I got people down here talking about Mitch, you know, like you should do what Mitch does. I'm like, what do you know? You know, and, you know, but he's an asset to the business and he's willing to help people. We've done some interviews with him before and, you know, we love Mitch. We love Mitch. So we love his story too, you know.
Absolutely.
Hey, Ryan, you're now the Mitch. You're saying that you.
Well, I don't know about that. I'll never be what he. Yeah. Oh boy.
I'm saying for the new people that come into your store, you said that you have a retail store, and that is the draw for people to get to know you. And then you have an education program. Can you talk more about the education program that you have available? Is it something formal or is it something that, if you can speak more on that?
You know, I mean, we just offer personal education, right? Anytime somebody comes in here, just like I asked him a million questions, I'm willing to share and help others when they come in. So, you know, if you come shopping in my warehouse, expect to be greeted, right? Expect to be acknowledged, expect to have questions asked to you because we want to make sure that we steer you in the right direction. I mean, you could have 12 to 15 different programs to choose from in our warehouse, and I want to make sure that we're steering you in the right direction. You know, I do lives pretty often on Facebook and try to just educate on what we have, what it takes, you know, the risks in liquidation, right? I mean, nobody wants to hear, oh, I got a bad pallet and that was the only pallet I ever planned on buying, because it's not a get rich quick scheme, right? It's real work. It's a grind. And if you're not willing to give it 110% every single day, then, you know, you're not going to reap the rewards that you expect. So I think we're just very cautious with that. You know, not every truckload we bring in is going to be gold. Not every pallet that somebody buys is going to be gold, but we try to bring in consistent options. And, you know, we pride ourselves on the fact that, you know, there's a good chance if you come in and buy a couple pallets, you're going to win. If it's just a one-time thing and you want to kind of put half the effort into it and the other stuff's going to sit for a year in your garage, yeah, I don't know. You might not make your money back.
Yeah. So you don't offer any truckloads of brand new PS5s?
Right. You let me know when you find those.
Yeah. I want all Apple products. Good luck. You know,
right.
It's funny. They think it's, and then we get newbies coming in asking for, like, you know, the hardest to find loads. And like, they think everybody's just going to give up their, oh yeah, no, go buy them here. You know, like, you know, the people that are already here are extracting the value out of as many truckloads as we can. You know, you know, I love talking to new players in this business, but it's tough when they come in with these expectations of sell me the gold, sell me the gold. Like if I had the gold, I wouldn't be selling it. Not to you anyways. I'd be making money off it myself. So
Yeah, it's a regular thing. Do you have pallets of Lululemon? Do you have pallets of all Nike, especially with us on Whatnot, right? Or hey, how about a Lego pallet? Hey, I bring in a load of case pack every single week, and I've yet to find a Lego pallet, right? So, if I do, I don't know that it'll be for sale.
Yeah. I mean, I can give you a truckload of Nikes, but then you're going to end up like those other Whatnot sellers that all got arrested for having counterfeit stuff because they don't exist. They don't exist. Nike, all these big people need to understand that these big brand companies have contracts with stores like Ross and TJ Maxx and things like that. All their liquidation goes to those places. They don't go out into the public market. If you find a truckload of Nikes on the market, which is, I can say it has happened, but it's very, very rare. Most of that stuff gets shredded, liquidated to the big dogs or exported. But I mean, sometimes they come through loads that we're not allowed to talk about on this channel.
Sure.
Because I got a cease and desist letter from a nonprofit for talking about them. But
oh boy,
those loads are rare to come available. But once again, that I saw Nikes selling for $45 a pair. Everybody wants to pay $7 a pair for mixed shoes. So I don't know what I'm ranting about here, but anyways, oh yeah. So your future. So you're going to keep growing your channel, keep growing your Whatnot, keep the store open. I just see within, I don't know, maybe another year, your Whatnot just being unstoppable. I mean, you might even be there now. I haven't seen it. Like, what percent of retail do you think you're getting on your auctions right now? Are you getting those crazy numbers I see?
Not really. I mean, it varies. I mean, it depends on what we're selling, what category. We're still experimenting a little bit. My favorite thing to do with Whatnot is to figure out where are people shopping and there's not enough sellers. And often I see people, I understand you start Whatnot, we tell people all the time, start with a low cost of inventory, something where it's not going to put you out of business if you don't get what you need right away, because it takes a while to grow. But now I'm starting to look and say, okay, like wholesale, do we run like women's fashion, who, there might be 12,000 people shopping, but there's also 1,100 people selling, or wholesale. Do we go on wholesale where there's 800 people shopping and there's only 4 other people selling? And we're really looking for those opportunities. So, with wholesale, we could have something that we're getting 5% of retail, and then the next thing we auction goes for full retail. There's no, it's Whatnot. There's no rhyme or reason. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And you just take the averages, and as long as you're bringing in more money than is going out, that's what matters.
Correct.
So, hey, listen, anybody out there, you got any questions for myself or Ryan or Esteban, you can make sure you put it in the chat over there, guys. We're probably going to go for another 10 or 15 minutes, but, guys, let us know if you have any questions. Esteban, where you at? You coming back on? We got anything yet?
We have Go Big Resale that says that we are, let me put it up on the screen. We are trying to stay in the garage as long as possible. We took your advice, Tom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They came in. So they buy pallets from me, and they came in and said they were looking at a storefront. And just like our conversation, Ryan, I'm like, whoop, hang on. Because Go Big Resale, they're saying they're killing it in the garage. And I talk about sweet spots. Like, you don't want to ruin that sweet spot and take on all these additional obligations of rent, utilities, who knows what's going to happen, and I'm glad they're doing that. And I'm not saying don't do a retail spot. I'm just saying bust at the seams in what you're using before you decide to make that move. I've made that mistake so many times in my life. You think bigger is better, but it's not, man. I always say, like, I made my most money doing Amazon pallets out of 8 booths in a flea market with my family working for me. That's where I made the most money. I was killing it. I had so much cash because flea markets are a cash business. I went from 8 to 32 to 300 booths, and then everything sucked. My stress went up. My responsibilities went up. Now I had 50 employees instead of just my kids. And it wasn't fun anymore. It wasn't fun anymore. I mean, making money is fun, but it wasn't like it was when you're just sitting there, raking in the dough. I had Amazon electronics when they were cool. Now it's a little tougher to get them, but that's when I started. So yeah, keep it in that sweet spot, guys. If you're killing it, stay there for a while, man, or bank that money, because man, you can get one bad load. I mean, what did I just waste? $27,000 on a coffin box load, and shit, it was horrible. That's a lot of money, and some people can't. I don't want to take that hit, but some people it would break them. They'd be done, right? They'd be done. So,
yeah, I would say keep your overhead as low as you can for as long as you can. We've been forced into, well, not really forced, but pressured into, when we expanded here. From 8,600 to 27,000 square feet, I wanted an extra couple months. I wasn't quite ready, but we were about to lose the space, and it definitely slowed us down for a couple months, just trying to meet that additional overhead. If we were bursting from the seams, we needed the space, but I just wasn't quite ready yet. But we figured it out, made it happen. But yeah. Oh man, if I could have had 2 extra months, it would have just made the next 5 months so much easier.
I have another question from Alicia Ritschel. Is it acceptable to ask to buy a pallet in one category, such as pets or lawn and garden?
You want to take that one, Ryan?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it never hurts to ask, right? If you don't ask, you don't know. Just because we don't carry it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So, I think those are perfectly acceptable categories. It's not like you're asking for something that isn't liquidated.
Yeah, I will say that, like, the way I get my inventory, you're not going to be able to get that from me. I mean, don't get me. I might, like, when I'm filling my bins, pull out all the dog food and make a dog food pallet. So then yes, but my inventory doesn't come. My inventory is high piece, every category in the world. So, I mean, you're just going to have to, it's harder to buy that. Now, are there like pet food truckloads out there? Sure. Are there lawn and garden truckloads out there? Sure. But, it's just harder. It's harder for me to sell in one category. The general merchandise, high piece count stuff is what sells the best for me. And, and you're getting that no matter what, from Target, from Walmart, from Amazon, from everybody you get it from. It's, it's mostly, a multiple of different categories. So you can do that, Alicia, but it's just a little harder for us to supply you with that kind of stuff, because we would have to probably separate it out.
Our Lowe's loads won't have just tools in it, and that's it. It's going to have a bunch of general merchandise.
You're going to get blinds and door locks and, ceiling fans. So, yeah, it's tough. And people all the time are asking, to have this single category stuff. And they're available, but it's like the time you're asking and the time they're available are going to be two different things. And it's just hard to get. And especially if you want to build a business, you need to build it on consistent inventory, and single categories aren't consistent. They're a lot harder to eat. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, you may find somebody that works with, like a PetSmart or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's out there. It is out there.
There also might be some liquidators that divide their loads and split it into separate categories so they'll be able to sell it. Usually those are like newer liquidators that aren't buying aren't buying big truckloads, or if they'll just buy one truckload and then split them up into smaller categories to be able to sell.
Hang on, let me add on to what you're saying there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people touching truckloads out there. Let me make this clear. even big guys. A lot of the loads out there are touched and processed and separated.
Oh,
Not
I know what
not
you're
into the
thinking of.
specific categories, but I'm saying into, they're taking FC inventory and pulling out the food and clothing. Yeah, not the iPads. Bullshit. I mean, come on now. And then they're called. Oh no, we don't process this. We just take out the food and clothing. Yeah, there's so many people sorting stuff out there, and and as long as they're selling it at a fair price, a sorted price, I'm fine with it. But when they're telling people, oh no, these are raw loads, bullshit. There's a lot of that going on right now, and that's big and small vendors out there. Everybody's trying to maximize the value they can get out of these truckloads, and I mean, I get it. I just don't want to buy it. I don't want to buy it, and I don't want you to lie to somebody else when you're selling it. Yeah.
I have Kevin Plunkett. If you are a pallet house and interested in starting on whatnot individual items, any recommendations there? I didn't want a pallet buyer to feel like we're taking away from them or taking the best pallets.
They will feel that way. They 100% will feel that way. People in your bin store will, we have a bin store. They're like, oh, you take all the good stuff out for whatnot. I'm like, no, I don't. But I mean, we take a pallet and we sort a pallet, one pallet at a time for whatnot, and what's left over goes into my bin store. But then the bin store takes pallets and puts everything in there. We don't sort everything for whatnot. And so what that does is that gives my customers the integrity that I'm not touching your pallet. So we will pull one pallet off the floor at a time versus pulling stuff out of all the pallets. So it's important to me that maintain integrity on the pallets. There was a time somebody started a rumor that we go through all our pallets, but I mean, the good thing is, thank you. The good thing is that, our pallets come with like mystery boxes in it, so they're sealed. So, they know we can't go through it. But I mean, you probably experienced that too. People like, oh, you go through the pallets for your whatnot. You can't get away from that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we play it in as a strength, right? Especially, I mean, we're not huge. I don't think we're tiny anymore, but we're not huge. And if there's been times where we've had a pallet sitting out on the floor for sale for weeks, and we're like, you know what? Hey, we need to rotate that one. We're pulling that one, and we're going to run it on whatnot today. And I'll let everybody know on our live, hey, remember that pallet? We're running it today. If you want to see what these are like, I think there's so much, when you get to the level where you just have so much inventory, it doesn't make sense, right? We want people to come back. So for us to cherry pick a pallet for a couple clothing items on a clothing show, or I mean, with case pack, it's just, we have so much of it. Everybody that buys case pack in wholesale from us, they're getting the same stuff we get no matter what. I haven't really run into a lot of it. I've had a lot of, maybe a handful of people ask, but when they come in and they see how much inventory we have, I think they understand that, we're a small operation. Myself, my wife, my business partner, and then we have 8 employees, and that's for the whole facility, everything. So I don't know. We just don't have time to go pick through a pallet. A lot of times we just pull the pallet up and run straight from it, and that's the pallet we're going to run until it's gone.
Yeah, I get it. And that's why I like having my bin store attached to my whatnot, because I can throw everything I don't want in the bin store to run on the whatnot. I don't know if that, it helps me out a lot moving through the inventory. So
absolutely.
But yeah.
All right,
no, but you're doing the case pack, so that makes a lot more sense. I mean, you're not having bad inventory in that. I mean, you can have something that's cheaper in there, but you're not looking to get rid of, 500 stickers from, Trump from the Trump election. I don't know.
Right.
What do we got next, Esteban?
All right. Keep telling people not to buy coffins from Illinois, Ohio, they're garbage. Yaha also asked if we can leave, if he wanted your contact number, so I added it in the bottom.
Yeah, and you want any of our information, go to liquidationmotivation.com, and you can see all my phone number, everything there, guys. Yeah, I mean, I bought some total trash out of, I believe it was Ohio, where I'm not even sure where I got that coffin box load, but it was trash. It was the worst load I ever got. I've been scammed before. It's like anything that could happen in this business has happened to me, but it's my own stupidity, right? My own stupidity. Why would I spend $27,000 on a load and not tell them to open a few boxes, take pictures, and let me see what's in it? That way I would have some ammo when I get the load to say, no, you told me this and I got it like this. Let's battle. Where's my, how much are you going to compensate me for it? I just said, yeah, I'll take the load, send them the money, and then I get the load into this crap. It was a processed LPN where they cut off all the LPN stickers on everything. I can't imagine how much time it took them to do it. So every box was destroyed, everything. It was horrible. It was sickening. It was sad. So yeah, there is a lot of garbage out there, guys. But listen, I buy LPN coffin box loads every other week, like $35,000 worth, and they're fantastic. So there's good out there and there's bad out there. So find a reputable seller. Don't ask me where these come from, because I buy everything he got and I use everything he has in my bin stores. So, and I don't sell them, but there's good stuff out there. And when you get it, grab a hold of it. Don't let go of it. Don't let go of it. Buy it, even if you got to sell loads off.
Brian, do you sell mystery boxes at your location?
We do.
Okay.
And they go pretty well. People come in just to rip them open like, it's a lottery ticket. And then we have people that take them by the pallet and fuel their reselling journey.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. If you get any extra mystery box truckloads, let me know, Ryan. All right. I'm always a buyer of mystery boxes. But the price seems to keep going up and up and up on those damn things.
It really does. Yeah, we're lucky to get what we get sometimes. But yeah, the prices, I think the last 3 loads I've bought, price went up each time.
Yeah. I think I paid like $14,750 out of Providence, Rhode Island, and so the shipping was ridiculous and nothing made sense of it, but I needed them, so I needed them. What was that question there, Esteban?
Yeah, I got it. Some baby doll called Toka Boca and Roblox Goodness. What a name. Tom, please, do you have access to target loads? And then the other question was, I'm looking to do only a target high piece count bin store. Would that be profitable? Before you answer that, the other question was, I found a 4,000 square feet warehouse for 2,500. Do you think that's a good deal? I'm not sure where. Where do they say?
Toka Boca. Is it Boca Raton? And Roblox Goodness. That's a great name. I don't know, Ryan. Ryan, what do you think? 2,500 for 4,000 square feet?
I think it depends where you're at. I mean, it could be.
You're not getting that price in Tampa, I'm telling you that much, where I live. That 4,000 square feet is going to be probably $6,000. So, I mean, it's not a bad price, but like you said, I've seen people get 4,000 square feet for $1,000. Just if you're in a rural area.
I think my biggest piece of advice there would be ask questions, look around. What are comps going for in the area? Are you using a commercial real estate agent to help guide you, or do you have a real estate attorney that's going to help look over the lease and make sure that it makes sense, right? Building that network around you is going to be really important. I would say make sure you have some professional guidance in the area.
Yeah. And as far as your question is, like, I'm looking to do target high piece count. The only high piece count Target load that I know of comes out of like North Carolina, and it's processed off of Target general merchandise pallets. So once again, it's a touched load that I don't like to buy, but I've seen them out there in the market. I don't know of any raw high piece count that is offered. I mean, I don't buy any Target, actually. I'd like to buy more Target, but I don't really have a good supplier, a distribution area near Florida. Everything's seems to be North Carolina, Texas, everywhere else. So you would know more about that one than me there. Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's a pretty big bin store around here that has built their whole business off Target. So we bring in Target, we bring it in raw, but it's built up, right? So it generally is a high piece count pallet, but again, it's raw, so you just don't know until you open up the boxes. But I think you could build a pretty good bin store off of Target. Just what I've seen is more of like hybrid models where you can do bins and shelves.
Yeah, sorry, I got a truckload deal going on. I had to text them back, but yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. I mean, we were putting like the IRC loads in our bin store. You ever got an IRC load, Ryan?
I've not.
Yeah, it's like, I guess IRC is something like irregular, something like it's if they returned a pair of AirPods without the box, there's no barcode to scan, so they can't manifest it, so they throw them in these IRC loads. But you would get chairs, bicycles, and then VR headphones, great stuff in the bottom. Some pallets had great stuff, some pallets had crappy stuff, and we used to throw those in our bins just because of that high value stuff that was in there. But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna buy Target, you're right. I think you do have to have a retail section, and because there's going to be a lot of big bulky items that don't really work in the bins. You're not going to put a coffee pot or something in your. Well, I guess you put a coffee pot. What's the right example? A
lawnmower
in your bins.
There you go, coffee table.
yeah. I mean, so that's why I don't like Target. You know what I like about Amazon is I can just take an Amazon truckload and dump it and walk away and not have to touch anything. It just all stays. When I go to Target, I got to go, okay, put this over here, put this over here, put this over here for bins, Ryan. I'm not saying, but man, I get more requests in my warehouse to bring in Target loads. Can you find Target pallets? I need Target pallets. I don't know why I haven't done it yet, but see, somebody put it, Tom, please, do you have access to Target loads? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can tell you where to get Target loads. It's
LiquidationMotivation.com.
No.
Yeah.
No.
North Carolina. I had it here.
But I'll tell you this, I buy at least 15 loads a week of merchandise. And then I call this place who has a Target contract, and it's like they don't even care, they don't even want to talk to me, so I don't know. And so if you think you're new and you're just going to call them up and they're going to start selling you loads, the business is not that easy, man. You got to get your foot in the door. You got to kiss some asses. You got to get to know people. You got to go to the shows. I mean, go to the shows and meet people face to face. If you're not willing to do that, it's hard. I think it's hard to get, to get people's attention unless you just start waving money around, I guess. But
that's how we met Ryan, right? We went to the shows. Oh.
I thought you were waving money around. I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, we met. Esteban, I met you in Kentucky, and then Tom, I don't think I met you until Las Vegas. So over at that networking event.
Yeah. And those events are so important, man. So important for I don't know how many people that. Oh, I'm going to go next time. And it's been 2-3 years now. And I'm like, whatever. I'll just keep going and growing my business and meeting new people. And maybe somebody's going to tell me about a new contract that I can buy out. And, who knows? I'll just keep doing that while you keep making excuses why you can't go. I'm fine. I'll take as much business as I can. I'm renting a new 86,000 square foot space. I'm supposed to sign the lease today, so I need more loads. I need more loads. Yeah.
All right. This question is for Ryan. Kevin says, what type of pallets do you recommend most to use for whatnot shows outside of clothing and shoes?
I mean, I can tell you what we do.
PlayStation 5s.
Yeah, right. If Kevin, if you're just starting on whatnot, keep your cost of goods low. I think that's really, really important. I don't care whether you run a Amazon FC or LPN or whether you're running Target general merchandise. Keep your cost of goods low and understand what that looks like, right? If something is going to break you on there by not getting what you need out of it, then don't run it. And I think that's important if you're just getting started. If you have a following, we see people running all kinds of stuff. I don't know that I would yet, but I've definitely seen, high-end electronics, things like that. I think it just depends on how you buy it. If you're getting a good deal on it and it makes sense that, you can do starts that will get you your audience, then run it. But
I think at different levels, you have to do different things. Like when you're first starting out, right, I would probably just find an inexpensive load to just try to gain followers, because you're going to lose your ass, when you first start. At least I did. But you know what? I got a guy that set up I do my own whatnot in my warehouse, but I got a guy that I sell a lot of merchandise to set up whatnot in my same warehouse. So he's running his own whatnot out of my warehouse. He did his first show and promoted it and did like $4,000 in sales, his first show. Wow. So, and he had like the same amount of viewers we normally do in a show, but I think it's all because he spent like $500 on promotion, which I've never spent $500 on promotion. So I don't know what that does to a show. But if you're not going to do promoted shows, you need to start off with a low cost load, because you're going to lose money. And then eventually your average sales goes up and up and up and up and up. And then you can start introducing other products. We struggled, even as big as we are, we struggled when we first started, what we were going to do in our whatnot show. And some shows would do good. Some shows, we try shoes, I'd pay $5 a pair for 10,000 pairs of shoes, and they'd average $4 and whatnot. And then they got the fees coming out. You have some growing pains, We found, and this is a rare load to get, but Amazon clean electronics, and their shelf pulls are not returns. And if anybody else can find that truckload, that's gold for this business. That's what we run a lot of right now. But they're not readily available, and it's kind of an industry secret. And I'll be happy to share that secret with anybody, but just not on the channel of where these loads come from. But yeah, it's a tough question to answer, Ryan. I would say get an FC, right? Like you said, get an FC pallet. You're going to get 900 items. I sell my FC pallets for $750. You're going to get 900 items, and you own it for less than $1 and just roll until you get plenty of followers, and and then the average sale goes up, and then you can get into the more expensive, the more the loads that demand you get higher sales out of them. That makes sense.
Yeah, people that come into our warehouse a lot, if they're not opposed to clothing, we sell our Target clothing at $1 a unit here. So, I think I always tell people, you get on whatnot, try that, go with $2 starts, and then you're guaranteed not to lose.
You recommend the $2 starts?
Why not? If it's gonna, you run $1 start. We run $2 starts sometimes. If we have a morning show and it's just not busy, I'd much rather run $2 starts and be happy with the money that we're making on it. I don't think we lose a lot of people. But the 53 cents or whatever that you get after the transaction fee, it's not even worth it at that point. You know?
That's funny.
So,
I was thinking about this yesterday. Or what about $2, $3, $4, $5? I don't know. what's the right
I don't see
answer
anything
there?
wrong with it. We run $5 starts on case pack because that's what I'm comfortable with. If we have a certain item that's not selling, we may drop it to $2 or $3 and just try to blow it out and get it out of there. But why not? I mean, we're in business to make money. I'm not in business to just give it away.
Yeah. That 53-cent thing, you're right. It bothers the hell out of me. But at first I was just like, I don't care what it goes for, just build the channel. But now that the channel's getting built, why do those dollar sales? I mean, you lose every time I sell something for $1, I lose money. I mean, I bought the product, they charged me 53 cents. I paid the employee. It's just not even worth it. So what is the right number that I got to be at? And will I lose any of my current 13,000 followers, because I went from $1 to $3 sales because, that's all they want to pay, because they're cheap,
Tom, I don't think you'll lose them. I think people are still getting great deals. Our goal day one for Whatnot is let's not lose money. We couldn't afford to.
That's
right?
a good goal.
So let's not lose money. Let's break even. I'm happy with that. Can I pay labor? Can I cover my cost of goods sold? And if we can do that and we're breaking even, but we're still gaining followers, we're still growing our channel, I'm fine with that. It's an investment into the future. So it's not an overnight thing. But I don't think if you're just getting started and you don't have the capital, I mean, like you see these big sellers come out here and give out $1,000 gift cards and all this stuff. I mean, they got to have some financial backing behind it to be able to do that stuff. And, we're not in that space. That would hurt us. We're a small business.
Yeah. I did want to go back to, what was it? Toca Roca or whatever it is. Toca Boca. Merchandise Liquidators is the company. You can get a hold of Merchandise Liquidators. They're in North Carolina. They're a big contract holder. They're also in Texas. You can, but like I said, man, I'm having a tough time getting loads from them. I don't know how much success you're going to have. And the reason is because they're selling all their loads, they're large, they're huge, but they got buyers for all their loads. So it's tough to get in the door with them. So,
I would say too, if you're, if you have a good broker that is also willing to purchase through them, maybe they're already taking 10 loads a week, and that's if you're just buying your first, I mean, what's $500, right? I mean, at the end of the day, if it gets you what you need, what's an extra $500? So,
and let me add on to that, Ryan. I've noticed like so Merchandise Liquidators, let's say they quoted me 15 grand on a load. I find a broker selling that same load for 15 grand. So it must be Merchandise Liquidators kicking them the $500. So I'm actually paying the same amount of money buying it from a broker than I would be direct, unless I got a broker dealer agreement with them to get the load for cheaper. That would be the only way. But so yeah, I agree with you 100%. There's a lot of good brokers out there. There's a lot of great guys out there. I mean, I buy from brokers all the time, and you would think, I mean, you new people think I know everybody in this business, but you don't. There's just too many people out there, man. There's just too many people. So there's a lot of a lot of bad brokers out there too. Be careful. Be careful. There's a lot of bad brokers out there, but
and there's people trying to look for you too, Tom, that still hasn't connected with you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we got a phone call from a major player, one of the biggest contract holders, and trying to reach out to us, and I haven't called him back yet. I'm like, what am I, stupid? You need to be calling this guy back.
No, you're not stupid, Tom.
Sometimes I drink too much. I can't.
I think that's an important point too. Like even some of the biggest contract holders, everybody, I want to buy from a contract holder. I want it as direct as I can or whatever. But some of these guys, they don't want to deal with 1,000 different customers. If they can have 5 to 10 brokers buying all their loads, and it just makes their life a lot easier, they'll do it. Tom, I watched one of your videos. we were having a really hard time with Target Case Pack. And, we bring in a load every single week. But there was some weeks I'd call and be like, hey, we need this. We have shows scheduled. Like this is, we've developed our business plan around this. And all of a sudden I'm being told, well, I don't have one, or well, maybe next week. We're scrambling to try to figure things out. I watched one of your videos and you said, just tell them to invoice me every single week at the same time. Right. And just send me the load. And I did it. And now we don't have a problem with it. Now I know that every single Tuesday it's getting picked up. And every single Thursday I'm getting my invoice. So, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. So, but you got to be able to move that volume.
They know you're buying it. So when they have 10 loads, they automatically allocate one to you. They don't allocate it to the first 9 people. They automatically allocate. That's so smart, man. That's 100%. I mean, that's what I tried. How do I buy it all? How do I buy it all? But I mean, we're talking, my stores need 15 loads a week. I will take a deal from somebody to buy 20 truckloads a week. And I might have to sell off 10 of those just to keep that deal. And I might have to sell it at cost. I don't care, but I need to have the deal. I need to have the inventory. So it's tough, and it's tough being small. It's tough being small because if I run out of inventory, the 100 people I service don't get the inventory, right? So it's rough. It's rough.
All right. We have one last question, I think. This one is from Go Big Resale. It's not really a question, but we can make it into a question. We are scared to leave you, Tom, for loads. We trust you too much to leave, man. And so let's make that into a question. What do you do, Ryan, to ensure that people trust you, know, like, and trust you, like they say in the marketing business?
I mean, we can't force anybody to trust us, right? We can get to know people. We can earn their trust. And I think that's important to know that trust is earned. We're very transparent about how we do things. I mean, certainly there's a few things that we keep near and dear that, things that we've worked really hard to perfect or create processes for. But, we work really hard to gain and earn the trust of people that shop with us, right? I mean, they're putting everything on the line. They're, they may be buying their first pallets. They may be buying their 500th pallet. I don't know, but I think trust is everything. And there's so many people out there that you can't trust these days. And that's why we run our pallet warehouse. I mean, we're open 6 days a week, 11 to 7 Tuesday through Saturday, and 12 to 5 on Sundays. We're pretty much running retail hours on our pallet house. And you don't need an appointment to come in. You can come in anytime you want. We keep the garage door open. You just walk right in. You can ask as many questions as you want. We're not hiding anything. And I think that's important, right? I mean, we have repeat customers for a reason.
Yeah. And if I could add on to that, it's, I think I tell just as many people not to buy a pallet as I tell them to buy a pallet. Like somebody's going to come in and say, I do marketplace sales only. I'm like, well, do you sell on eBay? Can you do a yard sale? Can you go to the flea market? No, only marketplace. Well, then don't buy this shit because it ain't going to work for you. It's not going to work for you. I find out what they're doing and how they're selling. For everybody who comes in here to buy pallets, how are you selling it? And then I recommend what will work best for them. And, and then I don't touch anything. When they come, I'm like, listen, I can see what's on the top, but I have no idea what's on the bottom. It could be garbage. It could be gold. But you have to give them those expectations when you're selling them this stuff, right? I don't know. These people that process stuff know everything's going to be marginal, but they don't tell people that. It just happens that way. So, yeah, trust is huge in this business, man. Trust is huge. And I love it when a pallet comes sealed, wrapped, where nobody can touch it. Customers will keep pulling that stuff off it to look to see what's in there. But then that nobody touched it. But there's always people that cheat and lie around that. So trust is huge, man. And I get that. I get that comment a lot. A lot of people, Tom, you're one of the only guys I can trust in this business. So, how do I buy truckloads from you? I'm like, I don't got nothing, man. I don't got nothing extra, man. We got too many things going on, but that's why I'm always looking for new loads. So we'll see. Yeah. Trust is huge, guys.
Yeah, I think, one thing too, in our warehouse, we have two rows of pallets that are all stuff we put together, and we're very open about it, right? It's clothing that needs to get counted, or else we're not going to make money on the loads. It's case pack that we've assorted, so somebody's coming in and they can buy it without getting a whole pallet of the same SKU. It's stuff like that, or like our Christmas pallets, right? We have Christmas out right now, and it's stuff that we bought in January and February last year. Well, we took all the food out of it that went bad. We took all the broken crap out of it and threw it away. We wanted to make nice pallets for people to purchase. If they're purchasing it for themselves, if they're purchasing it to resell, we want to make sure the value is there. And everything else, a lot of times, we have a dock in the back, but a lot of times we'll just unload it in the parking lot right out front. They see us taking it straight from the truck right into our warehouse. We're not touching it. And we have our warehouse sorted by that, right? Like there's 2 rows of stuff that we built. Yeah, we do build some of our own pallets, right? But we got to build them with love, or else you're not going to buy them. And everything else, you can watch us take it off the truck. It's going right out there. It's all in one area of the warehouse.
Yeah. We want lifetime customers. They have to make money off these pallets. If they don't make money off these pallets, you're never going to see their asses again, and it's not worth making the $100 or $200 you made off the pallet. It's just not worth it. I want them to buy 1, then 2, then 6, and then 12, then and just keep growing and growing with me until they can get up to truckload levels. That's what I want. So you're right. You can't screw your customers over. You can't screw your customers over because you want them for a lifetime, or as long as you're going to be in the business. But listen, it's been an hour and a half. Ryan from CRL Liquidations, man. Thank you for coming on the show, Ryan. Man, this has been great. I'm impressed with your whatnot business and your journey, and it's been such a short amount of time, man. A short amount of time. That is so awesome, man. So thanks
Very
for coming on,
inspiring.
Ryan. How do people get a hold of you, Ryan?
You can reach me through Facebook's probably the easiest way. My phone number's on Google. So you can email me, whatever's easiest.
Perfect. All right, we'll put your contact information in the store notes there, and great show, guys. Great show. Every Tuesday morning, 11 o'clock. Thank you, Ryan Esteban. Hour and a half. Liquidation Motivation signing off. Now go out there and make some money.